for players to have.
And obviously we've got the Man City story today. Tomorrow's a new day. We all know that Arsenal, it's in their hands. They'll have watched that. They'll be aware of what's gone on. But there'll be so much belief in their dressing room, and they've got Mikel who's going to be in their ear just telling them to focus on their own game. And look, on paper, that's the beauty of the Premier League, right? They go to West Ham, relegation struggling team. Arsenal should win, right? But that's not the Premier League. It's a tough league, and they're going to have to earn it if they are going to get...
Italy, they would have been expecting City to win, but hoping Brentford got something.
I think you allow... When I was in these situations, I allowed myself to be human for the 120 minutes, whatever, with half-time. You could allow yourself to be a little bit emotional, willing, if I'm an Arsenal player, willing Brentford to hang on. Are they going to score? Do I think that should be a red card? All emotion, watch the game, done. All you can worry about now is West Ham. You're a professional, you believe in your teammates, and that's your job, to go out and execute a plan tomorrow. And it's just relentless, and it's such a privilege to be in that position. Arsenal are experiencing it for the first time at the very latter end of the season, obviously since the early 2000s, so this new squad. So it's new feelings for them, new emotions, and how they react tomorrow if it is 0-0 at half-time. But you saw how City reacted, 0-0, calm, controlled, ready to go again. Arsenal need to do that tomorrow.
So it'll be the City players turn to be emotional for 100 minutes, wanting West Ham to do something tomorrow. But when you're at the bottom scrapping, even if it is the league leaders, it's equally as important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Similar to what Harty said then. It's, you allow yourself to will the other team to have a down moment, and then, like you say, once you're in that zone, Jeremy says that you might watch tomorrow, but once you're in that zone, once that game's gone, you're back into focused on yourselves, and it's all in your own hands when what you can do.
And then we'll see which twist and turn goes from tomorrow. Do you think tomorrow's the defining day? Do you think if Arsenal win that's it for twists and turns and the story's written?
I think that'll be a long way. There'll be a long way to achieving what they want to achieve, Arsenal, if they can win tomorrow. But there's no getting away from... They'll probably then have to turn their attention to City on Wednesday. And if City win on Wednesday, then Burnley at home, obviously expected to win, but then they've also got to think about going to Palace. So look, it's each day as it comes, each moment, each training session, each recovery session. That's how you've got to live. And then hopefully on that last day, you're lifting the trophy, and then it all matters. Not because you've done what you need to do.
It's a brilliant weekend, though, isn't it? With all eyes on this for City. And the big question is, could they get back to winning ways? They have. Yeah. And now this enormous game tomorrow at both ends of the table. I mean, it's what the Premier League's all about.
Yeah, it's a massive game. And, West Ham will be certainly up for it tomorrow. There'll be no givens there. And I think even, Arsenal going to Burnley in a couple of weeks. My old team, I think, they gave City a good game a couple of weeks ago. City would struggle to break them down initially, and there was chances after chance. And Burnley held firm. So there's all to play for. I think, you can't write anyone off in this league. Anything can happen, even with Burnley down at the minute. But I think, the focus on tomorrow is immense, and, what a game to look forward to.
Absolutely. The other side of the story today, just a second defeat in 9 Premier League games for Brentford and their manager, Keith Andrews.
Yeah, we're playing against a team that's fighting for the title. And I think you could see that in their urgency. I liked a lot of what we did today. I thought we showed a lot of bravery. I did think we showed a lot of courage around how we approached the game. And it needed to be a near-perfect performance to win tonight. But I don't think the scoreline should fool anyone into thinking it was an absolute rout. I think the way we approached it, the margins of the opportunities we had, the margins of some of the decisions that were made, I think were quite telling overall. So I'll step back from it and think, I'm really proud of what we produced, but ultimately we lost the game.
He's proud of what they produced today, and so he should be. They're still sitting in 8th on 51 points. And remember, there's a strong possibility that 8th could be enough for Europe. Still got 6 points to play for, as you can see, looking at that league table. And you obviously work with him on the staff at Brentford. I mean, could anyone have predicted with 2 games to go they'd be in the top 8?
No, he's done a fantastic job. I do believe he's got a really good squad around him, a good squad of players, but he's done a great job. To lose the amount of players that they did, the staff they did as well, all the change around the club, to steady the ship, to do what he's done he's been immense, and he's just such a calm head speaking there. He mentions a couple of bits in regards to VAR and things which you probably won't be happy with, but I think he'd be fairly pleased with his group. He probably got from them what he thought was probably going to happen. You know, maybe he probably would have liked it to be a bit closer of a match in terms of scoreline. Couple of opportunities, didn't really create too much. First half wasn't really too much. Second half, maybe Thiago had a couple of opportunities. Donnarumma maybe a couple of good saves. I think, overall, he'll be reasonably pleased with his group of how they acquitted themselves. But yeah, obviously disappointed with the amount of goals that went in the end.
But 2 games to go. There is still a flicker of the possibility they might need their passports at some point next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you'd have given him that at the start of the season, he'd have bit your hand off. So 51 points at this stage in the season is terrific. You'd like a couple more to cement a little European trip for the club, which would be, it'd cement the journey that they've been on, which has been fantastic. And they're an ambitious club, and I think they'll be very pleased with how this season's gone. Of course,
one of the stories of the season for you.
100%. I think I was one of the people that looked at it and more looked at what they lost. I wasn't as aware as Ben would be. We've been talking off air, and he's like, no, they're a really, really good squad, which is undoubtable. But to lose Thomas Frank, to lose the captain, obviously Tony going, Guemo, Visser, they're big names. They're big names for any team to lose, and for them to seamlessly kind of transition into Keith Andrews being the manager and not only survive, like I say, looking on the up, looking for a career best for Brentford in the Premier League, potentially going into Europe. I was actually asked about them, is this their best season? And I didn't want to dive in because how they've done since they've come into the Premier League, establishing themselves and really not really being part of a relegation scrap is incredible. And now to go again, if they could get European status, then that really would be really a top season.
It certainly would. But for Manchester City, it was all about winning. They did win. Here's what their manager thinks about it, Pep Guardiola.
Pep, how do you reflect on that? That was patient. You had to be patient to get that outcome.
But a really, really tough opponent. The season have proven in everywhere where I played, and his transition, his set pieces, the throw-ins, and how create damage. And we suffered in the first minutes, but after that, we played a really good game, especially in left side in the first half. In the second half, on both sides, we score. Jeremy is outstanding in many things, and different second half we put more players in the box. First half was not, and that's why we suffer a little bit to create not the chances but to be a final product, and at the end we take a great result and keep going.
Jeremy very much the star of the moment, isn't he? The man at the moment with the goals that he's scoring in the form that he's in.
Yeah, it looks like a final product already. Of course he can improve, but always had this incredible ability to dribble and to make this kind of action. The connection with Nico is extraordinary, outstanding, and but now he's winning games. So the people up front, not just a striker, not just Erling. Luke Omar today again, I'm so incredibly pleased because he gave us energy and always have a guy who scored goals. So, and I had the feeling that not just Erling, as I said, so the wingers attacking me had to score goals, and Jeremy did, made this a step.
I know this is the outcome that you wanted. We've spoken quite a lot in the last 24 hours or so. But you hand it over to Arsenal now. They've got to show up tomorrow, haven't they?
No, we see. So not in our hands. Before Everton was difficult, but the whole difference as well. But this was in our hands. Now it's not. So, but what to do is our job. We didn't do perfectly in Everton. It was tough. But today come back, and Wednesday Crystal Palace. The team was going to play a European final. So last season always was difficult because they have extraordinary players and managers. So, but try to do our job and wait.
But the players, they're not giving up. Not suggesting that they would anyway. But the fight, the determination to take it to the final day
was the real proof. 1-3 down and emotions, and we play incredible first half. Second half, and we give away. So what happened last season many times, this season we're more solid in that position, but that game we give away. But it's football, it's happened. This guy, how you react, look to the mark, how incredible performance Nathan has done. So I'm really pleased for the way we have done it.
Yeah, it's a very good point that, Joe, isn't it? After the emotion of Monday night and not being in their hands to respond like they did today.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's what he expects. He's allowed to enjoy it and he's allowed to interview like that, but he'd have been disappointed on Monday night, but back to business. Like Erling said, Erling Haaland after the game, if you're at Manchester City, you've got to expect to win. And whether that's from behind or whether you lead from the front, whatever it is, especially this business end of the season now, you have to perform, and they have today.
And it's that type of character of person they have, as well as the talent of player in the Manchester City squad.
Absolutely, yeah. Winners, competitive winners. You see the likes of Bernardo Silva in there, and the mentality that they have, Erling Haaland, and the likes of them guys that are driving the standard, the mentality forward, and yeah, the serial winners for sure.
And players like Doku coming to the party at absolutely the right time.
Exactly, and you know, Jeremy Doku talked about, again in his interview, he's almost probably been a little bit frustrated that he's being lauded over these couple of weeks because he feels like he's been that player for a long time. But you have to have the end product, and I know he's had that rammed down his throat, but he's been given time. And you know, the biggest compliment I can pay him, yes, he is a naturally talented player, but he's learning. You can tell he's learning. And he's saying that's his instinct now, but his instinct wasn't before to cut in and put it in that top corner. It was almost head down and kind of weaving past people. Ben talked about the skills that he's using now. They're not that eccentric. They're just very economic in how he gets past people. And now his instinct is to rip it into that top corner. You think of people like Ian Robben, even the great Lionel Messi, when he gets it in on the inside and manages to whip it into that far corner. From a goalkeeping point of view, I remember waving one in from Riyad Mahrez. You know what they're going to do. It's just you can't stop them. And if he keeps on that, as well as his kind of inside-outside game, we've got a real top player on our hands. And
big moments at big times. Well, as we say, time will tell how big that one is at Everton. But today, after an hour, 0-0, and he produces that.
Yeah, absolutely. Top players come at the best of times, and they stand up. And he said in the interview he didn't even think about it. He just did it, and that's confidence for him as well. He's stepping inside. He knows he's done it probably 100,000, thousands of times in training. He's going to pick it out. Joe mentioned the players that have done it in the past. They've spent hours just doing that, chopping in, quick timing, and difficult for keepers to get anywhere near them when they're bending away from them. So, yeah, his confidence is there, his ability's there, and yeah, he's showing it at the right times.
So if you're City keeper tomorrow, do you take the dog for a walk, or do you watch? What do you do?
It takes all different people, right? It takes everyone different ways. And don't get me wrong, if I had something important going on in my family, then I'd be doing it with them. But if I've got nothing going on, I'll have a little watch.
They'll all be watching West Ham. Title race is still on. Bye-bye.